Tilly and the SeaWolf. The iron-grey sea twitched irritably as the wind ruffled its surface. The evening sky above it was black with rain clouds, hiding a sinking sun. A seal poked its head above the waves and then dived almost immediately. A shoal of mackerel who had been playing near the surface briskly vanished. And then a flock of seagulls, serenely riding the wind, wheeled round screeching and shot towards the beach. For something was coming. Something big. The sea knew it. The seal knew it. The gulls and the mackerel knew it. But it wasn't just the storm. The great white SeaWolf stood alone upon the shore. Above his head, purple lightning arced and flashed across the horizon. He sniffed the air, salt and ozone, and then caught the fleeting scent of something else. Ha! That child! She was around here, somewhere. He sniffed some more, tilting his muzzle to the heavens, padding around in circles, snuffling the sand, and then he stopped. There. Yes, there. The faintest of perfumes on the sea breeze. The huge beast took off at a run, heading for the lights of the little village perched on the cliffs above the beach. He just hoped he'd be in time. Tilly leaned out of her bedroom window, watching the breaking weather. A clap of thunder shook the glass panes, and her ginger kitten Sebastian leapt up in fright, knocking Tilly's purple guitar over, and dived under the bed. Rain began spattering down. Her mother popped her head round the door. "Hey, lovely. Time for bed. Got a big day tomorrow. Your 11th birthday. Often a special one for the girls in our family." "Yeah, so you keep saying," muttered Tilly, trying to rustle her long frizzy hair into a plait. Bits kept sticking out. "But what's so special about it? You've never said. Aren't everyone's birthdays a big deal?" Some are bigger than others. You're going to be 11. A faraway expression crossed her mother's face. 11, on the 11th of the 11th month, November. That's 3 times 11. Well, duh. Look, they say the day you turn 11 can be so powerfully charged with magic that wishes actually come true, remarked her mother, whisking the curtain shut. It also marks the end of being a child and the beginning of becoming a young girl. So, yeah, I'd say it was a pretty big deal. "Well, whoop-de-doo," muttered her daughter, who was in no hurry to grow up. Tilly's mother gave up. "You've missed a bit," she observed, leaving the room. "Round the front." Just supposing she's right, Tilly thought to herself, struggling into her favourite onesie, an alarming purple cow print, which was getting a little bit snug recently. Oh, or maybe that pretty girl at school, popular, smooth hair, mean, was right when she said I was not only frizzy but fat. If I could have, anything, what would it be? Maybe a new nose? She squished hers, which she disliked, with her thumb. Tilly sat sideways on the windowsill and chewed one end of her sparkly pink glasses. An adventure, she thought. Yeah, an 11-11-11 magical adventure. Oh, right, that's what I'd like for my birthday. I want to go to Disneyland, Florida, not Paris, and tango as Shrek. I want to sail an icebreaker to the Arctic. Get a call back from Britain's Got Talent. A deafening crack of thunder rattled the air. It felt like the storm was directly overhead. Tilly threw open the window on impulse and leaned out. "Oi!" she yelled. "Magic!" A woman parking her motorbike in the downpour looked up, startled. "Hey, if you're real, let's get a look at you." Silence. All she could hear was rain, and all that happened was that her hair was getting wet. She felt a bit gutted, because just for a moment back there, she huffed impatiently and began closing the window. "You called?" said a voice. Tilly fell off the windowsill. Interesting choice of nightwear," added the voice. She scrambled to her feet and looked wildly right and left. "Out here." Tilly looked outside. And there, hovering in the darkness, was an enormous white wolf. She yelped and shot, ducked down below the sill, and then very slowly inched up again so only her eyes showed. The wolf was still there. "I could take you on that adventure you mentioned," it offered, "providing you were not yet 11 years of age. After that, sorry, but you'd be too old." It had slanted mercury eyes, and white fur encrusted with salt, and it seemed to be finding something funny. "What do you mean, too old?" demanded Tilly, who, despite the fact she was having trouble believing both her eyes and her ears, was never lost for words. "11's not old. It's barely into double figures." "No, but... And anyway, who are you? And since when did wolves float 20 feet above the pavement?" The SeaWolf was taken aback. No one had spoken to him like that in 600 years. "The floating's a simple reverse gravity trick," he replied eventually. "With practice, even you could do it. As to who I am, well, let's just say I'm an old friend of the family." "But you're a wolf. My lot of humans. Old family friend?" The SeaWolf rolled his eyes. "Why do humans find it so hard to recognize the truth? Have you forgotten how to trust your noses? To know if something smells right? And while we're on the subject, I'm a SeaWolf, if you don't mind. Leave my nose out of it, and I'm pretty sure my parents don't know SeaWolves or any other sort of wolf. But that thing you said just now about being 11. He shrugged. It's not an easy thing to do when floating in midair. If someone's over 11 years of age, they have difficulty believing. In what? Magic, of course. Is that so bad? Oh, you wait, warned the wolf. You'll find out. As you grow older, you'll catch yourself searching for it just like everyone else. Because all you humans deep in your hearts, you long for the miraculous and the marvellous. Don't give me that look, human child, you do. The tragedy is that unless people's eyes are open when they were young, they cannot recognise magic even when they hold it in their hands. Most grown-ups, and even most teenagers these days, they're all like that. They look and they look, but they cannot see. How old are you at this moment? 10 years and 364 days? Then we are just in time. For what? Time to see, hear and touch things you will never, ever encounter again. Things no one would believe. Time to visit the heart of the universe itself. To sing with stars, juggle with planets, race comets, dive into black holes. You will return with the jewel dust of the cosmos so deep in your bones that you'll shine within for the rest of your life. In fact, did I say shine? Child, you'll be on fire. Tilly found she was on her feet, clutching the ends of her plaits with both hands. Her eyes were huge and shining, but there was a flicker of wariness in the depths. Interested? Oh, yes, but I should hope so. However, the SeaWolf held up a front paw to stop Tilly talking. There's something else I must tell you before we go any further. Those who ride with me need both courage and curiosity, but even that's not enough, for they must also be willing to trade safety for knowing. Knowing what? Magic, of course, and me. And also knowing that though I can show you that all the things you once hoped were real genuinely are, I can be a bit dangerous too. The hair on the back of Tilly's arms prickled. You can. This isn't Disney World, Tilly. It's the real thing. Now then, are you in or are you out? Just a minute, how did you know my name? I know a good many things, and I ask you again, child, are you in? We're on a deadline here, mere hours remain. Tilly took a huge breath and scooped her kitten up off the floor, hugging him close. Then a bright light flared in her heart, and she knew. She just knew. This was it, and she would never get another chance like it. Okay, I'm in. Then let us be going. The wolf smiled, revealing gleaming pointed teeth, then burped discreetly. Kind of a fishy tang hit the air. Pardon me, star seal. Wolves are carnivores, aren't they? Ventured Tilly, eyeing his canines. We are indeed, beamed the wolf, showing even more teeth than before. Big ones. Tilly took 2 steps backwards, grasping the kitten so tightly that it mewed. Relax. I had supper earlier, and I rarely eat children. They cry too much. The girl went white. I'm joking, small one. I prefer star badgers, actually. Moonpigs are tasty too. Oh, those galaxy goats from Jupiter's 3rd moon. Now, look, put that kitten down and hop on my back. Wait. Tilly clutched Sebastian even harder as the enormity of what she was about to do actually hit home. What's in it for you? If you don't want to eat me, what do you get out of this? It's complicated. Not good enough. There is no way I'm taking off with some strange wolf unless you tell me. Well, if you must know, I made a promise to one of your ancestors. Yes, yours, he added as Tilly's eyebrows shot up. And it was the sort of promise you do not break. Who were they? You want background? You better let me in then. Tilly put Sebastian on the floor, then turned to fling open the window, but the wolf walked straight through the wall and sat on a pink fur rug. This ancestor of yours, he began, settling himself comfortably. His name was Finn. A 15-year-old boy when I met him, an apprentice blacksmith with the soul of a poet. He spent his days hammering metal, but talked to trees, knew the language of ravens and the names of all the stars. And I am most grateful to him, for he took care of me when I lost my family. What happened to them? Tilly asked from her perch, cross-legged on the bed. Well, my mother and father were members of the sacred white wolf pack who work with the Hopi Indians of America. It is their duty to guide the souls of the Hopi departed to their resting place beyond the stars. The minute I was old enough, I started training with them. But one night we ran into an appalling meteor storm as we flew past Pluto. I was torn from my parents as the storm battered us through space. It finally dumped me on the west coast of Ireland, but I had no idea where I was or what had happened to them. The SeaWolves' head drooped, but I never did see them again. Neither did the rest of the pack. I could no longer work with the white wolves after that. I was too sad. I am sorry, said Tilly softly. Poor SeaWolf. You must have been so terribly lonely. But my ancestor, please. He sighed. Okay, you have a right to know, of course. Finn's walk home from the smithy always took him past the edge of a forest, okay? One day he spotted me there, shivering in a tangle of brambles where I was slowly starving to death. He thought I was an ordinary orphan wolfling, so he fed me with rabbits, he trapped himself, and even found me a cave in the woods where I could shelter during that first long, hard, bitter winter. When I grew up, in gratitude, I swore I'd bring him a gift for one female descendant in every other generation of his family, forever. Then when I asked him what he would like that to be, do you know what he said? Well, of course not, sniffed Tilly. I wasn't there, was I? He said, give them the eyes to see magic, for those who can do so shall make their own dreams come true. Tilly looked thoughtful and chewed the end of one of her plats. How long have you been visiting us lot before our 11th birthdays? 20 generations. 6 centuries. I guess that makes this a family tradition. She blew out her cheeks. And just what do you do the rest of the time? The SeaWolf's ears went back slightly. All the seas of the world are my home and the stars are my playground. I do what I like. I'm so sorry, said Tilly hastily, realising she'd sounded rude. Yet the girl in this particular generation, she's me. She is. I've been looking for you for years, and for the first time ever, I am almost too late. Oh, I'm glad you did. Find me, I mean. But look, I don't think I'm really suitable for this sort of thing, mumbled Tilly, going pink. I mean, there's nothing special about me. I'm like no one. You're not no one, Tilly. You have the wolf magic heritage. Listen, I visited your grandmother, her grandmother before her, and her grandmother before that. Now it is your turn. You have courage too. Few could handle a conversation with a wolf that rocked up outside their window, or the good sense to question it. But are you with me? Wolf magic, stars, the heart of the universe. Tilly let out a deep breath. All right. The wolf stepped back through the wall, then hovered close by, placing his broad white back directly across her as the girl scrambled onto the windowsill. She shut her eyes and leapt aboard, tangling her fingers in the thick fur of his neck and breathing in the scent of him, salt and cinnamon and white roses. Then with a single lurching leap, they were in the sky, flying wild and high across the rooftops. She heard a shout. Tilly! Tilly! No! 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 Get back! Come down! The wolf wheeled round, treading air. Tilly could see her mother and then her father too, waving frantically from the lighted window of their bedroom. Want to go back? A wave of reckless courage and excitement swept through her, warm like the heat of the sun. Tilly gave her parents the thumbs up, waved, and then crouching lower on the wolf's back and gripping his fur even tighter, whispered, Take me to the place where magic lives. The SeaWolf flew up, up, up through the rain clouds, soaking them both to the skin, with Tilly hanging on for dear life. Once they were out the other side, the speed of their passing dried all the rain off his fur and her hair in moments. Unfortunately, he kept having to dodge around all the broken satellites and space junk cluttering up Earth's stratosphere. Time and again, Tilly nearly fell off his back as they surged away from Earth's gravity field. But then she looked back and shouted in delight, for already Earth was the size of a blue-green marble pearled with clouds. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, she's so beautiful, like a jewel in a dark, silent, empty room. Empty? Laughed the wolf. Space isn't empty or silent. It's full of pulses of electricity, magnetic waves, blasts of gravity, colours your eyes cannot see, wavelengths your brain cannot register, and sounds you cannot hear. Put your ear to my ear to ear. Go on, that's it. Now, listen. Tilly did so. Instantly they came, an orchestra of sounds. She heard the whistle of solar winds, the rumble of black holes, the silvery chiming of stars, and the harmonious humming in countless different pitches and keys, the songs of 1 billion different light forms on 1 trillion different planets. Her ears felt like they were filled with sparklers and fairy lights, and she laughed with sheer joy to hear the universe speaking. Now try leaning forwards and see if you can squint through my eyelashes, suggested the wolf. You'll be able to see space as I see it. See it as it really is. His wolf lashes were fine and long and pale, so Tilly found she could indeed peer through them sideways by hanging very tightly around his neck upside down. Oh, I can only see the hair of your lashes. Everything's all fuzzy and blurry and... Wow! A swirl of blinding colours, most of which she'd never even seen before, bloomed in the darkness. They surged and eddied to and fro in a graceful dance, flowing around each other, merging, separating. Oh, they're like Earth's northern lights, but 100 times better, gasped Tilly, stretching up to try and stroke a pulse of rose-coloured light streaming over her head. As it brushed her fingertips, silken electricity lit up her entire energy field like a firework. Seconds later, she was off the wolf's back and dancing on the edge of a constellation glittering like a jewel of multicoloured fire. Next, she found herself hopscotching across space using stars as stepping stones, and then, whoa, racing comets burning through the dark. But suddenly, a huge expanse of dark nothing opened up in front of them. The thing was alive. Spinning, expanding, contracting, rippling, growling musically to itself as it swallowed planets, meteors and stars whole. Even light was bending towards it, and it was reeling in Tilly and the SeaWolf unstoppably. "What is it?" shrieked Tilly, her frizzy hair standing on end. "Your first black hole," howled the SeaWolf cheerfully. "These things are crazy to travel through, but they will get you from one galaxy to another in minutes. Hey, you wanted a magical adventure? Well, try this. Here we go. Yee-ha!" The darkness engulfed them, spinning them around and around as if they were in a massive blacked-out washing machine. Tilly felt great weight crushing her on all sides so she could no longer see or breathe, and just when it felt like her lungs were going to burst, both child and wolf were spat out of the black hole in a screaming, chest-battering rush of power into a totally different galaxy. Welcome to Andromeda. "Where?" wheezed Tilly, her eyes streaming, still trying to catch her breath. "It's the next door galaxy to the Milky Way. Don't they teach you anything at school? Now then, check yourself over, child. Everything where it should be?" That was mad. Oh, that was wild. But what do you mean, is everything where... I've got 7 fingers and an ear on the top of my head. An ear. Oh, that's gross. What's happened? This is disgusting. It happens sometimes. It happens with black hole space-time travel. But if we'd done it the usual way, we wouldn't have got here for 2.537 million light years. Oh, don't worry. All your electrons will slot back into their original places on the return journey. This whole process, it reverses perfectly, providing we go back exactly the same way we came. "But I'm a freak! A freak!" shrieked Tilly, tugging desperately at the air on top of her head. "Look at me!" "Calm down. No one round here has a clue what humans look like, so you'll seem perfectly normal to anyone we meet," said the SeaWolf. "Hi, guys," he added to 4 upright, wavy life forms, apparently made of golden light, who undulated past him in descending height order. "Yo, Wolfie, how's it going?" "You know those things," hissed Tilly as the wavy life forms disappeared into the distance. Beings, if you please, not things. Sure, I know them. Nicest family you could hope to meet. But watch your language, child. Remember, you're a tourist. Back on Earth, Tilly's parents had not been idle. When they saw their only daughter flying off on the back of a SeaWolf, at first all their mother could do was stand there in her yellow spotty dressing gown, clutching the window frame and sobbing. Tilly's father scooped her into his arms. "Please stop crying and listen." Her sobs merely became louder. No, listen to me. If we ever want to see our daughter again, we must act now." He passed his wife a distinctly grubby handkerchief. "SeaWolves are rare creatures and seldom visit humans, but they are powerful beings and their pull is strong. We have to create a stronger one if we want to call Tilly home." "How?" wailed his wife, blowing her nose. "I think we should go down to the beach where that SeaWolf probably came ashore in the first place. There, we light a great big fire as big as we can, and we call out to her, and we keep calling, surely she will hear us. But what if she doesn't want to come back? Tilly's father hesitated. That, he said eventually, will have to be her own decision. Abruptly, Tilly's mother pulled away from him, squared her shoulders and wiped her eyes. Right, she said quietly. Let's go, with determination instead of tears in her voice. But I think we're going to be needing some backup. Seconds later, Tilly's parents were throwing on coats over their pyjamas, running down the street, knocking on doors, banging on windows and shouting through letterboxes. Within minutes, a steady stream of friends and neighbours were also out, many in their nightclothes. All carried torches or were lighting their way with phones. And soon, a river of little lights could be seen passing through the darkened village, heading for the beach. We got lucky with our return journey through that back hole, remarked the SeaWolf cheerfully as they headed back towards Earth. Nice and smooth. It can get pretty lumpy. Well, small one, what did you think? Exciting, huh? Exciting? It was insane, that's what it was, sputtered Tilly. Just unbelievable. Oh my God, it's completely awesome. And, ooh, she felt the top of her head. I don't have an extra ear anymore, or 7 fingers, or... The wolf twisted round and blew softly on Tilly's forehead. Instantly, her mind stopped boggling and she felt a soothing rush of calm and wonder. You've just experienced the magic of the universe at close range, and that's a lot to take in, he said kindly. Real magic, that was. The big stuff. True magic isn't spells and potions. They can only tinker with energy. It's what you just had. And once you've seen it, once you've felt it, it changes your outlook forever. Then he added in a completely different tone of voice, so, what are you going to do with your life then? The change of subject was so abrupt and the question so large that Tilly, still struggling with having seen the vastness of the universe up close, blurted out the first thing she thought of. I want to be glamorous and play lead guitar. Yeah, like in a band. And even as she said the words, she knew they were true. No stuff being glamorous, who cares? I just want to be different. And I want to play fantastic rock and roll. The wolf threw back his head and laughed, great barking wolf laughs. She yanked his right ear. Don't laugh at me, I'm serious. Tilly, you just saw colours no one has names for stream through your fingers, reminded the SeaWolf. You've danced across a galaxy, used stars as your personal stepping stones and navigated a black hole in space. I have no doubt whatsoever that you can be both wonderfully different from everyone around you and play world-class guitar. Why, thank you, beamed Tilly. I think so too. The wolf reached back to nudge her foot with his nose. Morning's about to break in your part of the world. Come on, it's time to go home. As they flew through the soft grey dawn towards Tilly's village, she glanced down. Look! Oh, look! For directly below was a forest of light surrounding a huge orange fire on the shoreline. The wolf began circling above it, and as they drew closer, they could see a crowd of people looking up and waving. The SeaWolf landed gracefully on the sand about 20 metres away from the fire, and Tilly slid from his back with a flump. And there stood her father and mother with their arms held out wide, the incredulous faces of friends and neighbours at their back. Tilly, called her mother. Sweetheart. Their daughter leaned forward to whisper in the SeaWolf's ear. I've got to go back, haven't That is up to you. Tilly, please, pleaded her father, won't you come home to us? Tilly looked into the SeaWolf's eyes and saw all the wonders of the universe. And then she looked at her parents and saw all the love in theirs. And for the second time that night, she knew exactly what she must do. She flung her arms around the SeaWolf's neck and buried her face in his fur, stroking his ears. I choose them. The wolf nodded. He had expected no less. So be it. My work here is done. For now you've seen the glory of real magic. You'll forever have the power to make your own dreams come true. However, he dropped his head low to touch Tilly's nose with his own. One day, perhaps when you've lived many decades of fullness and adventure and your body is old, look out for me. Scan the horizon where the night sky pales into dawn, for that is where I live, and I may ask you to accompany me just one last time. But for now, know that I shall watch over you from the edge of the stars until your last breath on this earth. Tilly used her sleeve to wipe away the tears that were now pouring down her cheeks, hugged him and hugged him as if she could not bear to let him go. Then she was walking away, walking towards the circle of fire and into her parents' waiting arms. Tilly grew up to be a brilliant lead guitarist in one of the most famous bands in the world. For just as the SeaWolf had promised, the jeweled stardust of the cosmos was now so deep in her bones that she shone from within. She was on fire. And everyone saw it. So all the boys wanted to play like her, all the girls wanted to be her. It wasn't long before having a deliciously roundy figure, frizzy multicoloured hair and a variety of brightly coloured glasses became the absolute last word in cool. And then after her band's fourth record-breaking world tour, Tilly simply disappeared. Her fans went bonkers. Was it a nervous breakdown, an alien abduction, a car crash? A year later, a private detective hired by her fuming record company found her living happily in a shack in the woods on a Florida wolf sanctuary. To their intense annoyance, she refused to come back. Instead, she insisted on living there with great contentment for the rest of her life. And the wolves really got into her guitar playing too, especially on full moon nights. No one could understand her. But perhaps you can. You've just heard where she once went, perhaps seen in your head what she once saw, and such things can change a person forever. Outside Tilly's little house is a beautiful blue and yellow sign she painted herself. Decorated with shells and feathers and wild flowers, it says, "Explore the stars but follow your heart, for it will lead you."